Let me give you like a ballpark estimate of when the seasonal depression starts to hit from all the dark piss.
Let's get it lit.
When the weather's not temperate and you welcome in this St. Nick looking bloke, but then I squat up and we squat on your settlement, rendering neighborhood crime watch irrelevant. Color-coded terrorists black out the curtains, whitewash the evidence. When the so-called snowflakes all drop at once, your guts are delicate. We storm on your dorm, locked or not, we enter it. So yes, that door knock was etiquette. Check the doorknob, how red is it? Get your long scarf and leather mitts, call your delegates bed. Frozen. That's a form of shock you left in it.
All right, everybody, welcome. This will be the final and possibly the greatest podcast episode of the calendar year 2019. My name is Aaron Piper. I am going to be your host today. I'm not going to say host with the least.
Because that is inaccurate.
Yeah, that's inaccurate. Corey, you are not the host with the least as well. You do a great job. But Corey is not with us. Anya's with us.
Hey, boys.
Derek is with us.
Yo.
Kyle is with us in spirit, as always.
Yeah.
But
I'm just like, no, he is not here. He's probably doing some kind of driving shit.
He's probably cutting corners on the ice. Right? He's trimming corners on the ice.
He ditched you guys. He left the baby on the porch step with a note and got out of town.
Okay, but I do have his Golden Knights.
Nice.
She does have a Golden Knights beanie. However, and you guys, you know I love you very much, babe. Derek, you've become a really good friend this year.
I love you too, man.
I'm really excited for who is on the other end of the line right now.
Yeah.
Our friend, and this guy has been around a lot, constantly talking. He's been a fan of the show. We've been a fan of his. One of the coolest logos I have ever seen in my life.
Yes.
One Mr. Griffin of All Beard, No Teeth. Griffin, can you hear me?
I sure can, my friend. How we all doing?
Oh, we're doing well, all the way from Dublin, Ireland. I love it. I'm so happy.
Oh, I think I'm the one that's happy. I'm so used to listening to you guys. As you said, I am genuinely a big fan of the show. So, honestly, this is awesome. Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh, I love it.
Wait,
man.
I think he should just talk because his voice is dreamy. I love it.
All of us fucking Yankees that try to do the Irish accents have got shit on that, man.
Yeah.
Before we get too wrapped up, I think, should we do and we're in two countries right now.
Yeah.
Traffic and weather?
Oh, shit.
In honor of we haven't done traffic and weather in a long time.
That's very true. So, Griff, give us a weather report from the island today.
So no one's going to be surprised at this. It's cold.
Yep.
It's miserable. Everyone's unhappy. But hey, we got a reason to talk, right? So that's the thing about Irish people. You know, if you take away something like that, we've nothing to complain about and we've nothing to celebrate. So, but you know, it's a bit in the future, I suppose, compared to where you guys are. It's like 6:10 in the evening, so it is dark outside and all that fun thing. But I suppose, you guys can honestly take comfort in this, and anyone who's ever met me can back this up. I think I'm the only person on the island of Ireland that wears shorts 365 days a year. So it's you know when I say that segment of "Baby, it's cold outside," I'm still the one that's that lunatic with the shorts.
That's fantastic.
So that was me in high school a lot, and I actually had a biology teacher that any day I would actually wear pants, he would walk up to me and put his hand on my forehead, and I'd be like, "What the fuck are you doing?" He's like, "I'm checking to make sure you're feeling okay because you're wearing pants today." So I feel
I
it.
can remember that.
We had a football coach in high school. He was the offensive and defensive line coach. Never wore a pair of long pants in his entire life. We'd be 18 degrees, freezing rain coming down in Cleellum, and he's standing on the sidelines in a pair of shorts, and it was like, you are a crazy person.
You crazy son of
but
a bitch.
he never let anyone know that he was probably really cold.
Yeah. Well, I couldn't be wearing shorts today. Ever since I lost all that weight, I'm always cold. So, and it's what, about 30 degrees outside today here? 30 degrees Fahrenheit. Sorry, we're on two different.
Oh, I figured that. Don't worry.
Because 30, for most people that don't realize that I'm talking Fahrenheit, would be like 30. That's fucking warm, man. So,
Well, traffic too sucks.
does it?
Yeah, remember all those idiots cutting people off and
Yeah, it's the holiday shopping.
God, I'm trying to be happy because it
season.
is happy. But these fucking retards.
It's we're gonna have the happiest Christmas since Bing Crosby tap dance with Danny fucking Kaye. Oh man!
Holy shit! Where's the
Oh,
Tylenol?
that's awesome.
We do. It certainly is the most wonderful time of the year. But real quick, like I did say, this will be the last episode for the year. So we'll do a best of sort of thing next week, which will probably include this episode. I have a feeling.
Did you announce the music?
I didn't yet. I was going to get to that
because I interrupted you with all my bullshit.
It's
Sorry.
okay. Our opening music today was brought to you by the Epic Beardmen. It was called "The War on Christmas."
Ooh, solid.
From their season 1 album. So on Strange Famous Records, check them out. We love Sage and B for letting us use their music.
Yeah.
So it's a good one. Okay, let's get to business. We'll talk Taylor Hall in a few minutes. I want seriously, I want to give you a couple minutes here, Griff, to tell us about All Beard No Teeth, because to me from our end, it looks like a really, really big, ambitious venture, and you've got a lot of people involved with it, which is so freaking awesome, man. You guys are covering so much. Tell me where it came from and where you are taking it. Where do you want to go with
it? That is something that just is constantly changing every single day. I'll tell you that much. But essentially, so ABNT started sometime in 2016, just kind of. Now, I didn't take it to any social media at that stage. I was just trying to, I suppose, do, and by kids, I mean I was close to 30 at that stage. You want to decide what you want to do when you grow up. So essentially, I was thinking all I do is, talk hockey to my friends here. And as you guys know, we don't have a rink here, so it is quite frustrating. And it's quite weird to think that there's someone Irish who just talks as much hockey as I do, but then like my buddy said to me, he was just like, well, why don't you start something hockey related? Because he was doing like something Star Wars related. So I was like, yeah, okay. So basically I started the Twitter page, and essentially that started in January 2017. And the whole idea was I wanted to basically create just some sort of hockey community, essentially, where just people talked about the game. Now, I hadn't got the idea of, it becoming what it is now, but essentially it was going to be something along the lines of, I'd have the Twitter page, I'd probably go down the road of Facebook, and then I'd probably do a personal blog once every now and then. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, what the website's become is a little bit more impressive than the blog idea, I think. But it's not just myself, that came up with that. Like, we've had some great people that wanted to come on board and stuff. But essentially, I honestly, I'm insanely humble when it comes to it. I never expected it to get where it is now, because like I kind of had a rule that I wasn't going to tell anyone about it until I hit like 100 followers on Twitter, because I didn't want 100 followers, but 98 of them were my friends.
Right.
So I didn't tell anyone, and then. Like, I think purely because of the old logo, like you guys remember what the old logo used to look like, I'm sure. But like, essentially, I think because of that, a lot of people liked it. And then the name obviously is quite hockey, like, related. So essentially, it kind of hit 100 followers pretty quick. So I was like, okay, well, let's dial it back here. Let's think bigger. So I was like, okay, I'm never going to hit 1,000. So... Anyway, smashed 1,000, and I couldn't get over that then. So then it was at that point that I told my friends what I was doing, and like some of them kind of knew all along. They were like, all right, there's a hockey page talking about beards, referencing a beard based in Dublin, Ireland. It just kind of... It got bigger and bigger, and just more people wanted to come aboard, and just like a lot of people wanted merch, a lot of people wanted just just kind of more output, essentially. So it was at that time I actually was part of the hockey writers then. So I went on as a writer, and then basically I helped run their Twitter page just with my buddy Dean. He is the god at the hockey writers. Love that man. But essentially he just kind of like from there, I just kind of made more connections in the hockey world. And then ABNT became too big. I had to step back from the hockey writers. And then essentially it was like, okay, where do I go from Twitter to Facebook? Where do I go from there? And I was like, okay, I don't want to just move to another platform. Yeah. So that's when I was like, okay, well, the blog, I think maybe the following's too big for just a personal blog, because like, who wants to hear just me piping on? Because that's the idea of Twitter, you know?
Sure.
So,
Yeah.
And that's, yeah, like I had a good few friends who were interested in starting to write, or they were currently writing, or they were just looking for another avenue. So essentially, we started off with a team of basically 7, and that's including myself. And I know good friends of you guys, Danny.
Yeah.
Like Danny's my brother from another, so he definitely was more than happy to come on board. And like, it essentially, yeah, it just got bigger from there. So, you know, we got 16 writers now, and like, yeah, we try to cover as much as possible. So we're covering 11 leagues at the moment, but
Wow.
like it is full on, because obviously everyone has their day jobs and stuff as well. But it's like, I'm trying to just think of kind of the next stage. And then, you know, Aaron, I know you remember, like, there was basically the ABNT fantasy team.
Yeah.
So essentially that was started by Mark, because Mark is just all things fantasy hockey related. And he just basically mentioned the idea, and I was like, that'd be something that'd be really cool. But like, how on earth, you know, I'm going to manage that one as well. And then, so Mark took that on. So that's awesome. Like, that really hit off. So there's big plans for that next year.
Nice.
And then essentially then the forum took off around that time as well. So like, just trying to, I suppose, merge the two of them to just get them open for the hockey season. It pushed back the store a lot. So a lot of people were, you know, my inbox is blowing up quite a lot about the disappointment there. So I get that. But that's going to be the next stage now, is to actually finally get the store open. And then, yeah, I'm still looking to grow the coverage. I ideally want to be the place that covers every hockey league.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Just, you know, obviously you gotta walk before you sprint, you know. So it's there's big things, but the most important thing for me was just opening it up and expanding the team, because obviously, like, you start off with something that's your baby, or, you know, you don't want to let it go. You know, and it's I think that's, looking back, that was the best thing, because obviously as one mind you can only do so much, whereas if you have a team of people, like, just your ideas can just expand so much more, you know.
For sure. I know, like, you know, even with us with Buried Puck, it's been a slow process, and we're trying to take everything the right way and baby steps and all that stuff. But you're right, you got to learn to trust and let people in, and, you know, then you have to play manager and all that sort of stuff. But if you find the right crew and the right people to be involved with it can go a really long way. So
sure,
I definitely know. But I feel like what your short and skinny answer should have been was, all beard, no teeth is trying to take over the world of hockey, pretty much.
So it's like, you're not a million miles wrong. Like, the original statement was, it's just your home for all things beard and all things hockey.
Yeah.
So, like, you know, I still think that's there, but, you know, my inner motivation to the team has always been, you know, today's the day we take over the world, you know. So, like, it's like, I think what you can do in reality and what you can do in a dream, like, I'm trying to flip it, you know.
Sure. Yeah.
But you know, we'll get there, right?
Absolutely. You know, it's funny when you brought up about being in Dublin, and you guys, you don't have an ice rink there at all, correct?
Yep. So there's none on the island of Ireland. So, like, wow. You know, like, we have what's known as the Republic of Ireland. Like, there's no rinks. Wow. Like, there's one up in Belfast, Northern Ireland. But essentially, yeah, like, in the country of Ireland itself, there's none. So it's it's pretty insane when I talk to all my North American friends, and, you know, like, 9 times out of 10, they might have one out their backyard or down the road, you know?
Yeah.
And just, like, they open up some pop-up rinks around Christmas time, but it's just so people can go skating. Like, if you wanted to go down there with a stick and a puck, I don't think you're going to get anywhere.
Wow. So I think that what was surprising to me about that is the EIHL. I mean, it resides not too far from you. There's a team in Belfast, right?
Yep.
And that's it. Tell me, like, the EIHL, that's probably a league that not many people here are familiar with, but it's in your area, that's kind of the league, right?
Yeah, well, like, it's a case of, Belfast is only, like a 2.5 hour drive from Dublin. So there's a lot of times during the year we'd go up. And that's, just a lot of people in Ireland would go up who are into the game because, the majority of people, if they know hockey, they only know the NHL.
Right.
They wouldn't actually know the Elite League, and that's just over in England, So it's so there's just a lot of people aren't really aware that there is just hockey here. Just if you know where to find it. Okay, you can't just go and, just skate yourself, but
Right.
if you really want to catch a game, 2 hours to someone in the States, I think is absolutely minuscule, but in Ireland, when you tell someone it's a 2 hour drive, you kind of have to clear half your day,
No, you're absolutely right. I mean, a 2-hour drive for us here is here to Spokane.
Yeah, that's right.
There's another team in Spokane. I mean, that's how close things are to us.
Even after that, I mean, we will drive 2.5 hours for a rock concert and then drive home. I mean, it's like
I would not.
we're up and back,
I'm sorry, I would not.
She doesn't like. We did that a couple of years ago. We went up to Spokane for my birthday to see the Young Dubliners actually. And they played in Spokane, and it was a 2-hour drive. So we could just drive back that night. And she's like, "No, we're getting a hotel." I was like,
Yes, we are.
"Okay, all right." But I mean, yeah, in perspective, I mean, it's going to be nothing for us to hop in a vehicle and drive 3.5 hours to go see the Seattle team.
Yeah,
once
not
they finally
right.
get
Not
there.
only that, I mean, if we want to see major professional football or
absolutely.
Major League Baseball.
Major League Baseball, we're driving 275 miles to Seattle.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
yeah, that's not much for us.
But you're saying there to go, 120 miles or so. That's a pretty big deal for you guys, huh?
Yeah, some people would. Now, I think just depending on people's situations, for us, say, for instance, if I'm trying to get the boys together to go to Belfast, you can't just go for one game. You got to go for a weekend.
Sure.
And it's just when you're trying to explain that to the wives and the girlfriends, you kind of have to think about, what the actual reasons are going to be, But yeah, some parts would be long. It's 2.5 hours from Dublin to Belfast, but from south of the country, it could be 4 or 5 hours, and that's just a serious no for
That's
people.
like a day. That's like your job. You're going to be driving most of that day
Yeah.
for what, a 3-hour game?
Not even.
Yeah.
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 Makes sense. No,
that's why he's saying, then you'd have to make a weekend out of it, which makes,
And then that
Absolutely.
costs a lot of
but
money.
makes it harder. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, honestly, if I go up to a game in Seattle, I'm probably staying the night.
Oh,
I
for
mean,
sure. Yeah.
Especially with it being a winter sport. Here we have a thing called Snoqualmie Pass, which if you're going to the west side, you have to drive through this mountain pass that the weather gets super shitty all the time, especially this time of year. So it's one of those things. There's a lot of variables involved. But yeah, I totally understand what you're saying with that. So in Dublin itself, though, do you feel like there's at least some sort of hockey culture, hockey interest, or is it just kind of a meh at this point?
It's definitely better than it used to be. When I was growing up, nobody liked it here. I've followed the game for, I want to say 20, 21 years now.
Yeah.
But absolutely no one liked it. So it really bothers me that over here people still call it ice hockey. That really, really annoys me.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm getting, I'd be telling someone I run a hockey brand and they're like, field hockey? And I'm like, but they think that's what I'm talking about. And I'm like, no, hang on. I was like, hockey is the real one. Field hockey is the one you're referring to.
Very true.
Yeah.
What was it that really got you? What was that moment when you fell in love with hockey?
That's my big question.
Yeah.
How did hockey come to you? How
Yeah.
did you find hockey being so isolated up there?
I honestly, a lot of people over this side got into hockey the same way, so it's not an original answer, but it is what happened to me. So I remember playing NHL 94 on the Super Nintendo.
Yes.
That's awesome.
I will never, ever get bored of that game. And I just, I was into sports, growing up, and I was always just into fast-paced sports. And then when you introduce hockey, where you can beat the hell out of each other, and it's okay, because obviously those days was different. But it's yeah, I just love the game from the get go. But we didn't get any of the TV channels over this way because I think ESPN probably got a little bit of coverage. You know, it got a little bit bigger around maybe 98, 99.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I seriously got into the game. I became like, and as you guys know, I'm a Devils fan now. Like, so I got into the
I'm
Devils
sorry.
around that time. Yeah, me too.
Which makes sense because that's when they grabbed a couple cups, right?
Yeah.
Right around
Like,
the
so-
turn.
It was 2000, 2001.
There you
that
go,
they
yep.
won it. So, you know, I'd been kind of into them 2 years at that stage. But, you know, they had, you know, just the best defenseman at the
Yes.
time. And, like, yeah, okay, they might have played a boring game. But, hey, it still won, you know. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think, and I honestly credit the main reason that I became a Devils fan, 2 words, and I'm sure you will all agree with me. Scott Stevens.
Oh, dear God.
That guy, like, you know, the only fact that I have many Devils jerseys, I still think he would kill me if he told me.
So we get the NHL Network over here, and Scott Stevens is obviously one of the analysts on the NHL Network, and every time he's on TV, my eyes twitch a little bit because I'm ready for him to like lose it one night and just like beat up a host, because the guy was the epitome of toughness on the ice. I mean, him and Eric Lindros's career ended essentially because of Scott Stevens.
Yeah.
I mean, and Eric Lindros, for those people, I mean, a lot of people in hockey probably know the name Eric Lindros, but if you don't know Eric Lindros, just go YouTube that name and find out how much of a tough son of a bitch that guy was. He would literally nail you in the corner and then score a goal on you. He was just like the complete package, but Scott Stevens was his kryptonite, man.
Yeah, and the story of Lindros, it's, you know, it's obviously, it's a sad one. Like, that guy, just, what a player. Like, and yeah, as you said, he was one tough dude, but just, yeah, I suppose every player has their kryptonite, I guess. But, you know, Scott, as much as I love him, and I will always respect him, like, that guy just wouldn't, you know, people complaining about Tom Wilson. Like,
oh, God.
Wow. Like, you know, and just looking back, yeah, okay, but the game obviously was a lot different then than it is now. And just, yeah, players like Scott Stevens wouldn't last very long in today's game.
No, Scott would spend 40 to 60 games a year suspended. So, I mean, just to be honest with you, but I respected him. I took the wife, what year was that? We went 2004, 2005-ish. We went up to Philly to catch a game, a Flyers-Devils game. And Marty Brodeur was in net that night.
That's about the only thing that was fun about seeing Devils play.
Yeah, because you're right. It was a very boring style of hockey for a while.
Yeah,
that
sure.
fucking trap, man. That 1-4 setup was just like, holy shit, dude.
And Forsberg, because his eyes are awesome.
Yeah, the cat eyes of Peter Forsberg. He was playing for the Flyers. But I remember, you know, watching the game live is so much different. And Marty Brodeur he's a legend. I mean, the guy's a fucking legend. And the Devils under Lou Lamoriello were a really, really good team. And they understood that it doesn't matter if people are bored with your style of hockey. We're probably going to raise the cup this year. So that's really all that matters.
So that was Everett for a while, too, though.
Oh,
Like,
the Everett
they're-
Silvertips.
Do they have the same kind of style? Or they did, not so much anymore, but...
As far as I know, Kevin Constantine, the former
Yeah.
coach of the Everett Silvertips, was involved with the Devils organization at one time. So, yeah, that made a lot of sense. Do you guys know that Austin Matthews was actually drafted by the Everett Silvertips and decided not to come and play because there would be no offense there for him? So that's why he went and played for the Swiss League.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
the Everett
Never knew
Silvertips had Austin Matthews WHL rights, but he never showed up to play.
That's crazy.
So
That's like a
Big baby.
going way back, but that's like a John Elway getting drafted by the Colts and saying, "Nope, try again, not going there."
Well, speaking of Mr. Lindros, he was drafted by Quebec and said, Quebec. He said no thanks and sat
It's
out
not
a
so
year.
bad in Quebec.
And then the
Some good
Flyers,
fishing.
gave away a shit ton to get him. In fact, Peter Forsberg was part of that deal.
I
Oh
like.
wow!
The Flyers had Peter Forsberg, who
There you
went to
go.
Quebec.
Comes full circle.
Comes full circle.
Was he good, Peter Forsberg? That we're going to totally switch topics on
Oh,
teams.
Forsberg was really
Okay,
Yeah,
because
he's stud.
honestly, I don't know if it's because I remember him being good or just because of his eyes.
You were starting
His eyes were awesome.
He had the great
His
cat
eyes are that good. aren't
Yes.
he had the sweetest eyes for sure. No, you caught kind of when his career was starting to wane off.
Okay.
But before that, I mean, mid to late 90s, when Colorado was winning cups, he was
yeah,
a force.
okay,
Him and Joe
thought so.
Sakic were a force on that team. So
I think he's definitely one of the best players that's ever played. Certainly one of the best Swedish players that ever played the game. But the guy, honestly, he was absolutely incredible. I remember just how good he was in Colorado, but just when you look at what he done in Philly, I'm pretty sure he played for Nashville as well, and
Yeah.
the guy was absolutely incredible. But yeah, he has some awesome eyes. As a fellow blue-eyed person, I wish I had those eyes. But hey,
So what's up with this trade that happened with the Devils? I missed it.
We're going to go that path already.
Never heard of it.
we were just making friends.
I know, right? Well,
There we go.
I don't follow.
Scott Stevens just came across the blue line and nailed us all.
I don't follow as much
Okay.
of the NHL as you guys do. I'm more of the local community hockey stuff.
I want to preface this conversation that we're about to have with the fact that just over a year ago, I sat down with Russ Rankin and had a conversation with him, and he's a big Devils fan.
That's right.
Also, if you guys don't know who Russ Rankin is, he's the lead singer for Good Riddance, a pop, or not pop. Oh, God, Russ, if he hears that, he would kill me. Not pop, just a punk band. Oh, Jesus. A punk band.
You want to start again, bro?
Sorry, Russ, don't hate me.
We'll fix it in post.
But
no,
he's-
there is no fixing in post ever.
He's the lead singer for Good Riddance, a legendary punk band. But what I really caught my attention with him is that he is a scout for the Tri-City Americans. He's a California scout. So we sat down and had a conversation. I got to be honest, I didn't really feel comfortable talking Devils Flyers with him a lot because every time I would bring it up, his face would get really, really red. And it was one of those I don't feel comfortable. So, Griff, I feel comfortable having a conversation with you. And I'll say the same thing that I told him. I fucking hate the Devils, but I fucking respect the Devils as well because that was the Flyers' kryptonite. One of my earliest memories of really, really being into hockey was that 2000 Eastern Conference Final when the Flyers had a 3-1 lead in that series, and they ended up blowing it and losing to the Devils, who went on to win the Cup that year.
Hey, but that's not too bad. I mean, at least they lost to the team that won the
The
cup.
winners.
Well, but the Flyers were set, and that was the year that the Flyers won a 5 overtime game in Pittsburgh that I stayed up and
yeah.
watched. Living on the East Coast, that game ended at 2:18 in the morning,
ridiculous.
and I watched the whole damn thing. Keith Primo will always be my hero because of that game. But anyway, you're a Devils fan. I'm a Flyers fan.
Actually, we're all Flyers fans.
Well, yeah, we are. We're big Gritty fan. You're a Gritty fan, though, right?
There's another topic about.
Which one do we start off?
Right, right. Yeah, let's pick our battles here.
So I will say this.
I just like to poke.
I'm going to give everybody in the room knows this. Griff, I don't know if I mentioned this or not, if you've seen it, but Anya and I are going to be in Philadelphia in March at a Flyers-Bruins game. And part of that is our social media is going to blow up with Buried Puck gritty pictures. So I'm just warning everybody right now.
I'm going to go get dressed up like Gritty. Actually, no, I'm going to make you do it.
Oh, fuck
because you got
no.
the beard and everything.
Oh, Jesus.
You'll be awesome.
I'll be on
That'd be
vacation
awesome.
that week.
Derek will be
You're getting tagged.
quote unquote on vacation.
You're getting tagged in everything, dude.
So let's have the
them.
Devils conversation. We've had a lot of personal talk. Let's talk hockey here real quick. Taylor Hall. I didn't realize the guy was unhappy in New Jersey, to be honest with you, until recently. He won the MVP there 2 seasons ago, helped the team make the playoffs. I honestly thought the Devils were on the upside of things, and last season and this season just haven't been going according to plan.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's so much being unhappy. To me, this is just a very simple economics lesson. He was going to be the #1 unrestricted free agent next year.
Yep.
They probably couldn't. They knew they couldn't pay him anyways, or weren't going to pay him what he's going to command.
Right.
They had a perfect trade partner in a team that's
On the upswing.
somewhat surprisingly in first place.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and I don't even know if they can sign him next year.
I don't know. Well, and that's the one thing, too. They got him, and they haven't signed him to an extension,
right.
which usually happens in these sort of deals.
They're renting him for the rest of the season to make a run at the Cup, plain and simple. They probably will not re-sign him next year because that's not their motto either. Is to
Right.
pay. The Coyotes kind of have the Patriots, New England Patriots method, where it's like you come here to play here. We're not going to pay big bucks for anybody. We're just going to have a solid team.
The
so,
Pittsburgh Steelers of the
right.
NHL.
So what do you think, Griff? I mean, I know this hurts you, but
Yeah. So it hurts me for a number of reasons. But Halsey, since he got drafted and he was in Edmonton, I don't like the Oilers at all. But I like them because Halsey was there. Now this is before McDavid, obviously, but Halsey kind of just made it easier to like the Oilers. I used to live in Vancouver, so once you're out that way, you can't like any team that's around you. So I kind of got on board with that. So I actually like Halsey. Yeah, okay, he's awesome on the ice, but I just when you have those players, they're hard to come by. So there was a lot of things happened with the Devils. They reached the playoffs a couple of years ago. He won the MVP, but then a lot of people forget that Halsey got injured last year and he had to sit out the majority of the season. So he was pretty eager to come back, and he basically said to Ray Shiro that surround me with talent, give me a chance. I think Ray, he done that. We went out and drafted Jack Hughes. Nico's obviously signed long term, and then getting PK and hoping PK gets back to where he was. And then I think even just signing your boy Aaron, I know it hurts still, but I hated Simmons when he was a Flyer, but just the same reason people hate Wilson, But
Yep.
if you have that guy on your team, he is your favorite person on that team. So I thought he'd come in, do a lot of things, but for whatever reason, it just hasn't worked. And John Hines obviously lost his job, but I don't think the issue's with him either, but I think the Devils had to make this trade. Halsey didn't want to go, and the reason the Devils are in the mess that they're in is because a few years ago, Parise done the same thing, and then that awful, awful human being, Ilya Kovalchuk.
Oh, God.
I'm delighted the Kings got rid of him.
Yeah.
Oh, I can't stand that guy. But basically, so they left the same year, so we were kind of struggling from that point. So I think I personally don't believe he was unhappy, but when you want to win, I think Halsey's 28 now. He wants to sign a long term that's going to finish his career essentially, and you're not going to do that when you're just battling for the lottery pick each year. So it's I think it's a good trade from a Devils standpoint because okay, you give up Halsey, but you get 3 prospects and 2 conditionals.
Yeah.
So I think it makes sense because there is no extension involved in that, but that is dependent on what those conditional picks turn into. Mm-hmm. So I think the price of a rental from an Arizona perspective, I don't think they've overpaid because they've kept all their top prospects.
Oh no, they got him for nothing, really. I mean, it's an excellent trade for Phoenix's side, and from my standpoint on New Jersey too, because they got something for him. If they played the string out, they wouldn't have got anything for him.
For sure,
because he's not staying. So
can I interject something that I don't know if New Jersey fans realize this or not, but there was a name in that trade, Nick Merkley. New Jersey fans, you need to be excited. I used to watch Nick Merkley when he played for the Kelowna Rockets.
Yeah.
And the guy was an offensive power. Now, it's taken him some time at the professional level, but I really believe he's due for a breakout season here sometime soon, and he, from an offensive perspective, could fill in some of that hole that Hall was going to leave you guys. And that's just one of 5 pieces in that trade.
For sure. I didn't know a lot about 2 of the prospects. I knew a bit about Ball, but aside from that, I knew nothing about Schnarr and I knew nothing about Merkley. But one of the team, Caitlin, Caitlin's I think Caitlin's one of the youngest members on ABNT, but we call her the mom. So essentially, she just loves the junior leagues. She absolutely loves them. So straight away, she just let everyone know about Ball and Schnarr and about Merkley, and then so I think just that could be something. But it's all about building for the long term as well. It's all about depth, but just how the conditional picks. I don't know if you guys saw that tweet from Pierre LeBrun last night. It's just Like, I can read it out to you guys if you want, because the wording on it is hilarious. But if you don't know hockey, like, this is something that's just going to confuse the hell out of you.
What was it?
So it's essentially, now this is word for word, that there's a hard first round pick in the Hall trade plus another conditional first round pick if the Coyotes re-sign Hall and win a playoff round. The conditional pick becomes a third round pick if neither of those things happen, and a second round pick if one of those two things happen.
So they're going to get a first rounder, period.
And
they
at least
get
a second or a third.
Yeah.
And at least guaranteed either a second or a third.
Are they
and a
really
first.
a contender to win the cup?
Who? Arizona?
Yeah.
They're first place.
They're
in
on
the Pacific.
fire right now.
No, I'm just
They're first place in a division that includes Edmonton, Vegas, San Jose, and they're
Okay,
first
yeah.
place. They've
I
turned
just
it
read
around.
that, Griffin. I just read that as you were talking about it. I was like, how is that even like? I don't know how it benefits the Devils.
Well,
Like, the way I look at it is, if you look at, let's forget about the Blues dream run last year. You know, that doesn't happen all the time.
No.
So, like, realistically, the Devils are aimed for the bottom of the league at this current rate.
Yeah. Okay.
So you know, they're looking at the better end of the picks. So I think now that one for 2020 is lottery protected, but there's not a chance that the Coyotes are going to be picking in the top three. So I
Yeah.
don't think they've anything to worry about. So I think that's when it helps the Devils, because it'll be the
Okay.
better picks in the rounds. But again, I like it for both sides, because I think the Coyotes didn't give up too much and they got a hell of a rental in return.
Yeah.
And then the Devils got a lot of pieces back for essentially Adam Larson. So
Yeah.
I think, you know, I think it's hard. I think it's hard to be upset. Apart from the personal, you know, like, if you just take Taylor Hall out of the equation, like, if you're thinking of it more as a rental and what you got that rental for, you know, I think it makes a lot of sense.
I would say the real speculation now is who's got $10 million a year over the next 7 years
yeah,
to get Hall next year.
yeah.
I'm sure somebody does.
Yeah, and realistically, I think Devils are going to be in the mix. You know, Devils still have a lot of cap room, but I'm not too sure it's gonna go down that road. You know, but that's the beauty about the deadline. And then come July, I think there's going to be a lot of people moving cap to re-sign him. I really think he's going to go back north, but. Yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't have picked Coyotes either, you know. So
Be interesting to see him in a Calgary or a Vancouver jersey. That's for sure.
Well, I was going to say, you know, the weather's pretty nice in Phoenix this time of year, so
Yeah.
he might get used to wearing shorts outside and not freezing.
I've heard several players from that area that just fall in love with it. Jeremy Roenick, you know, played there for a while. I think he still has a home there. Of course, Austin Matthews is from that area. Some friends of ours, the Playfair family, Jim Playfair was an assistant coach down there in Arizona. So Austin Playfair, who we used to hang out with a lot when he was with the Tri-City Americans, spoke highly of Arizona a lot. Yeah, once you reach, it's kind of like the Florida. You know, Florida to me seems like a vacation for a lot of these players. I think with Quenneville there and Bobrovsky there, they really do want to win. But I think from a personal level, a lot of these players just fall in love with that tropical climate. Man.
Well, and Florida being one of the best states to be a millionaire in because of their tax structure. So
tax-free, isn't it?
That's another very attractive reason to be rich
Absolutely.
in Florida.
No state income tax.
Right.
if I
No
recall.
state income
Now,
tax.
You pull up something very, very interesting there that you say as a millionaire. My folks live down there in West Palm Beach, and as non-millionaires, they hate that fucking state. So
Cost of living is high, you say?
Yes. In fact, they're in the process of retirement in the next couple of years, and they're looking to buy land up in northern Idaho. Is
you
where
go.
they want to retire to. So
Heck yeah.
One of my favorite places on the planet.
yeah, in fact, that same area. So
So Hall, he's 28. What is the age where you start becoming shitty?
He's hitting his peak right
I
now.
was like,
he's
is
in
he
his
hitting-
prime.
Yeah,
He's got
Okay.
another 4 to 5
Yes.
solid years.
5
ahead of
years
him.
of peak.
So he's a rental to try and win a cup for Coyote.
Barring injuries,
Right.
of course.
Is he injury prone?
Well, he was hurt last year, but it's hockey. I mean,
I know.
What was the injury that he sustained last year? I forget.
So it was his knee.
Okay.
He kind of, you know what hockey teams are like. They don't tell you anything.
Yeah, they're not
like,
required to tell you anything. Yeah,
upper body
Yeah.
or lower body. That's it.
So that's it. Like he was lower body for ages, and then they didn't say anything, and then all of a sudden he got secret surgery.
No.
super
Like,
double
one
secret
knew,
surgery.
Like nobody knew about it. They just said, whole surgery was a success, and everyone's like, "Whoa, he went for surgery." So that was New Jersey saying, "Okay, we're shutting him down for the season," because there was a lot of talk he'd be back, and it was like, yeah, but. Outside of that, no, I don't think he is injury prone. Like, I think he has made a full recovery for his knee, but it might be something that, he always has taped up when he's playing or something like that.
That's fun. I was just curious because I know that there's a point where you just start sucking.
Can I take a moment? I want to do a timeout on the Devils conversation. We can get back to it in a second if we want. I do want to bring up real quick how touched I was this weekend with the announcement of Oscar Lindblom. With his diagnosis of I forget what it's called, but essentially it's a soft tissue / bone cancer that he contracted. The guy's 23 years old. It's way too young to be dealing with this shit.
Yeah.
But the outpouring from the league, I mean, we just came out of the Hockey Fights Cancer and all this stuff, and all the teams, the players that said, this is bigger than hockey, man. This is fucking real life, and we're behind Oscar. I loved it, and I love the outpouring, and I just wanted to make that comment, even just as a hockey fan, not even just a Flyers fan, but as a hockey fan. It's cool to see how the hockey family has gotten behind that guy.
For sure. Like, it's just how many people have put, that hashtag of Oscar Strong, when it was trending. And just, you can absolutely despise the Flyers, but, this, as you said, some things are bigger than hockey, like, and just... when something like that, you find how supportive people can actually be, and that's when all that negativity finally dissipates. So, like, it's, as you said, he's 23, he's having an incredible season. Like, it's insane, and it's a really rare form of bone cancer, I believe.
Yeah.
It just fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just no way to sugarcoat it. It just sucks.
It's the same way I felt like Pierre Maguire. I fucking hate the guy so much, but when he was diagnosed with cancer a couple years ago, I mean, couldn't nothing but to feel for him and his family and all that stuff. I mean, it's like it becomes bigger than a sports storyline. This is people fighting for their lives,
for sure,
and it goes so much bigger than the game. It's the same way. I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, if Sidney Crosby came out and said I have leukemia or something, the way Mario went through it a while back, it would suck. There would be no ill will, no feelings.
But he's a big crybaby on the ice.
He's a big crybaby on the ice, But you know what I mean? It's like, honestly,
definitely in the minority there.
The sentiment would be, please get better so you can get back on the ice
and cry,
so we can start hating you again.
Yes.
Well, I remember very vividly watching Mario's return back in the early 2000s when he scored like 40 seconds into a game, and he hadn't played in 4 years, and it was just nothing but respect for that guy. And you realize whether he's wearing a Penguins crest or not, the guy just fought through cancer and is back playing professional hockey now. So we wish Oscar nothing but the best, not just as Flyers fans, but just as hockey and human being fans. So
for sure, like you said, it's just remove the team, like you're a human deep down. So certainly sending every positive thought for Oscar, man.
For sure. With that, what do you feel is the future for the Devils, man? I like I said, honestly, as a division rival, I don't pay attention a whole lot to what the Devils are doing because I don't fucking care most of the time.
Accurate.
But listen, I'm being very genuine here. I did not realize kind of how bad things had gotten. Where are they going to get to? Do you honestly see a bright future for them?
I see a bright future, but I don't know if that future is happening this season.
Okay.
Like, essentially, there's a lot of talk about coaches and just, they promoted one of the assistant coaches as the interim, and I have no idea what they expect him to do, but the guy is not going to be able to do much. And if one more person tells me that Dan Bilesma is the guy to go to, it's like...
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Bilesma won the cup when he came in as an interim, but that team also had Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin in their prime, like, so I'm just, I don't want him in New Jersey. I don't think he's the answer, but like, essentially, I am more than happy. This is like, as my inner devil not clued into the rest of the league hockey fan is, essentially my pipe dream would be riding out the interim. Look, the season is what it is. Don't tank, but go out there, play every night, and we'll finish up wherever we finish. Like, I think we have enough prospects, we have enough picks. Like, I'm not too worried about that. And then essentially we change the coaching staff in the summer, in the off season. But what I want is for Tampa Bay to do what Tampa Bay normally does, gets to the playoff and then lose. And then they're going to fire John Cooper. And then essentially New Jersey can throw all the money at John Cooper and bring him to New Jersey. That's my little inner child's dream, essentially. But I don't see that happening somehow,
A lot of pieces there.
That would be interesting. I've followed John Cooper just because he was the coach of the Norfolk Admirals when they won the Calder Cup. And back when they were in the AHL and they were the farm team of the Tampa Bay Lightning. So I followed John Cooper a lot. That would be pretty cool. I think, a lot of people would give him crap and saying he hasn't won a championship with Tampa. It might happen this year. Who knows? Last year they were set up for it and they they forgot what adversity was. And then they were met with it and they said, oh shit, we forget how to deal with this.
For sure.
But he's a good coach. And coaches have a life. I don't care how good of a coach you are. Coaches have a life cycle. And after a while, the players just stop listening, plain and simple.
Your message gets tired. They stop listening.
And I think maybe that could be happening a little bit in Tampa right now.
Listen, the bright spot for you would be, it's been proven time and time again that you can turn around, you can worst to first in the NHL within a season. So, if they get younger, they get some of these pieces, maybe one of these prospects pops and one of the draft picks is okay.
For sure.
You could turn it around within a season or two and be right back on top. So
Jack Hughes still excites me, man. I like that kid.
Yeah, like, I've been watching that kid for a few years, just tearing it up and just like getting Nico, obviously, a couple of seasons before. I just think from a forwards perspective, the Devils are, they're getting there. Now they still have a couple of pieces, but like the big issue with the Devils is goaltending. And everyone thought Schneid's was back to being healthy and it just hasn't proved right. So, Schneider's playing down the AHL and he's not playing very well. So I don't see him back in the NHL anytime soon. But I have a lot of faith in Mackenzie Blackwood. Like, he's only 22, I think. And he's just, I think, when they drafted him, they really thought, okay, he's going to be the guy. And I do believe that. But, we need more than just a 22, or I think he actually just went 23. We need more than that kid just with the organization on his shoulders. So, I think just that's what the Taylor Hall trade they were kind of looking for was just maybe a goalie prospect, but it just didn't work. So I think we're still going to be looking in this draft to pick up some pieces. But again, they don't want to go into that full rebuild. I don't think we need to. I think we just need to look outside of the organization. Ray is Ray essentially when it comes to trades.
Yeah.
So I have every confidence when it comes to them. So I think, the answer is not completely through the draft and not completely through the organization. I think we just need a few pieces from outside. But I don't know. I've been hearing some rumblings that, Simmons might be on the move and then PK might be on the move. And I don't see PK on the move, to be honest. But there's a few pieces there. But I think the Devils are going to be back in the mix. There's no way you can have a few firsts and not do well. Because essentially that was the Oilers' problem way back when.
That's what I was going to say. If I recall right, Edmonton was kind of in that boat for a while.
I was going somewhere with that, man. Essentially, when you can't go out and draft the same positions every year, eventually those players want to play in the same role. They don't all want to be third line centers or third line wingers. So I don't know. I think Ray knows the answer to this, because if he didn't, there's no point people like me suggesting like, I'm just going to upset myself when it doesn't come true,
Is Marty still in the organization?
Yeah, so
Marty
Marty's like an
Bergier?
assistant.
Look, he's only 47, man. I think you could pull him down on the ice for a few games. He's got to be better than what you've got in the pipe.
Yeah. And something I'm really annoyed about, when he went to St. Louis a few years ago, like Jake Allen all of a sudden was the best goaltender in the league.
Right.
And it was because Marty was teaching him things.
Yeah.
And then, Marty came back to New Jersey. Jake Allen is Jake Allen. And now I'm just questioning. I'm like, well, Marty, why aren't you helping out Mackenzie?
Is he head coach material? Would he be looked at?
I don't think so.
I'd
like to see Scott Stevens back in the mix, or even like, I don't know if you guys remember Bryce Salvador, like him. Yeah, so like I'd love to see him in the mix as well. He's like the Devils' kind of TV between the glass guy, and I just think his insight into the game, he's a former captain. I'd love to see him in some capacity. So, yeah, I don't know. I think there is a few people they might look at, but I don't think Marty's the one that's going to go for it.
You bring in Patty Waugh as your head coach, you make Marty Berger the GM, and you beat everybody 2-0.
Well, I was going to say, like in football, when they have a lot of good pieces, our football with the oblong-shaped thing.
American
football.
That's my
yeah.
football as well.
Oh, okay,
man. I
okay.
can't stand the other one. So.
Nice. Oh, my God. We're talking to a truly Irish guy who
That's
hates
awesome.
soccer. I fucking love it, man.
I absolutely.
When a
hate
team has a
soccer.
lot of good pieces but needs to develop their quarterback, right? Probably the most important position on the team. Sometimes when they bring in these quarterback, specialists that work with these young guys, so maybe that's something that New Jersey needs to look at, is bringing someone in that can bring a goaltender along. I got to think the goaltender's in a similar position. They're the brains on the ice. They see the whole game.
Yeah.
They're very intelligent.
For sure.
I gotta, maybe how many ex-goalies become NHL head coaches? That might be a good question.
Yeah. Well, Patrick Waugh didn't do too well when he was in Colorado.
Well, sure.
Well, that's because Patty Waugh's got a head the size of fucking... I mean, he can't walk through a door without having to turn sideways, and he just didn't get along with management.
Right.
So.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where they go.
Yeah.
So
For
who is
sure.
the key player on a hockey team?
Who's the key player?
Because you said about the quarterback being like...
Well,
But who do you think on a team, on hockey?
The captain.
So whatever position
Great
that
answer.
is, it's the
Here-
captain.
Yeah.
Here's why I believe that the captain is the most important player, because I've seen really good captains and I've seen questionable captains, and captains set the culture. And hockey, win or lose, is a lot about the culture. St. Louis won the cup last year because of the culture that was created in that locker room, and it was created in Philadelphia at a game they were at a bar or the night before a game at a bar. They heard the song Gloria, and they grabbed that as their mantra of their leadership group, and their leadership group wanted to win so bad they created that culture around that song, and blah, blah, blah. The rest is history. They won the cup. Captains are important.
For sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Hence, Scott Stevens being involved with the Devils again could be huge, since he knows the culture that was created under his captaincy.
Yeah, hockey, I don't know. I'd have to think about that as far as actually on the ice. You have your leaders, your natural leaders like that. Again, back to football, your quarterback is calling the plays. He's seeing the
Yes.
line. The center is very important because the center is calling out the linebacker coverages so the linemen know what to do.
Yep.
And on the defensive
sure.
side, your middle linebacker is kind of like your quarterback of the defense. He's reading what the offense is doing and setting plays.
So what I'm actually hearing is you need all the pieces.
Oh, right. Yeah, I mean, you need everybody. But in hockey, like I said, I don't know.
I don't think it's positional in hockey.
Right. I don't think it is
For
either.
sure.
Yeah.
Your goaltender could be the most important. There were seasons when the Devils didn't have a lot of offensive talent, and they rode Marty Berger's hot glove, or they rode Scott Stevens' defense. It's
I don't know who is it. The captain that says, "Okay, they're running this kind of offense against us." Does he call out, "Hey, we need to switch to, this zone or this pressure," or you know what I mean? Like, who's making those decisions? I guess that would be the person that.
Well, a lot of times that's your face-off center.
Okay.
A lot of times, depending on.
Yeah.
on who's coming into the circle. You see that a lot. You know, Giroux takes a lot of face-offs. Moving him back to center this year, you'll see him calling a lot of stuff out to the players and everything like that. Yeah, it's different. It's different because not everybody touches the puck as much on a team. Whereas the quarterback touches the ball every play.
True, so, that makes sense.
Unless you're running a wildcat, he might not touch the ball at all.
Right.
But yeah, that's good. I was just curious.
Oh,
it popped into my brain.
Hey, everybody, we're a bunch of Flyers fans. We turned into a Devils podcast.
No, we did not turn into Devils fans.
Fucking A. No, I said a Devils podcast.
Oh, yeah, that's even worse. I'm not talking.
Being from Tri-Cities, we have one real strong tie to the Devils. So
Scott Gomez.
I guess Scotty G, we could,
but we
could hang our hat on that.
So we have ties to other teams too.
Who?
Montreal, because of Price.
The Flyers, because of Damon Langkow and Brian Boucher.
I forgot about those two, my bad.
They were both Tri-City Americans.
I just remember being in the stands.
I wasn't following them.
Just screaming. The whole place was rocking.
Which Connor Bouchard, this day and age, is loving hearing Bouch being yelled
You know what?
out.
I was actually, when you said that, I thought you were talking about Bouchard. Because I love that freaking kid.
No, I'm talking about the old school days when I was a kid watching some really good Tri-City Americans teams with those guys.
You know what? I didn't really get involved with it until, this year? My husband used to drag me to the games, and then my husband told me I was boring. And then so we had to
hold the phone.
Whoa.
Wow.
Jesus.
Shots are being fired here, bro.
I know. No, I actually don't really have any interests. I never did.
No rooting interest.
No rooting interest. Just nothing. And so
she loves the game.
So he said I was boring. And so I'm like, what do I got to do? I got to
Fucking
find something that's not boring. And so I'm like, you know what? Fuck that. I'm going to go and I'm going to like something. So I picked hockey, which happens to align with him. And I'm getting really involved with the women's hockey in WHL.
Yeah.
So I've been watching the...
If you guys haven't heard West Side Story, project we started doing with Dan Brown, who Griff was talking about earlier, works with ABNT. So that's a fun little side project.
Yeah, it's fun.
But we try to focus a lot on women's hockey and stuff from the west side of the state. All right, we are running low on time, and I want to give Griff a couple of minutes here.
Sorry.
When we were preparing for this episode, he asked, "What do you want to talk about?" I said, "Come up with a few Irishisms for this time of year." That either A, are going to surprise us, or B, I think I said, or are going to play right into the stereotype of you Irish bastards.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
So,
because you guys love stereotypes about the Irish. So.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, fucking St. Patrick's Day. You know how it is. So, tell me, Griff. What does Christmas look like for you personally?
So when I speak of an Irish Christmas, I'm pretty much just speaking from a Dublin perspective. So, anyone outside of Dublin is going to have a completely different one, so it's, I tried to actually have some fun with this. When you asked me, I was like, I'm going to actually do some digging about this. And then, I came up with a few things that are just insane, but they're pretty much just normal to us. But for, people that aren't crazy people on an island, like you guys might look at it a little bit different. So like growing up, we had this thing called, well, you guys have the Late Late Show, right? Like your own version. So like we have a similar version, but basically at Christmas time they do a toy show. So it's essentially where, when you're a kid, you're fascinated with this because it's all the latest toys coming out for Christmas, and you get like, there's a lot of kids come on and, they just play with the toys, but they're like doing loads of, I don't know, just like playing music and songs and stuff like that as well. So like, as you're an adult, you're watching this show and you're looking at it from the music perspective, or you're watching it with your kids, your nieces and nephews and stuff like that. Or what you can do is what a lot of people do is the toy show drinking game, which essentially you end up getting destroyed on alcohol because just absolutely there's I'd say about 200 rules. This show goes on for 3.5 hours.
God.
That's
holy crap.
That's a lot of beer you go through. So that's something that happens. But definitely just talking about the big days themselves, just a true Irish, Dublin tradition, I'm sure it's Irish though, is getting absolutely legless in the local. And what that means is essentially just you can't stand, you've drank so much. And basically you fall on the way home. So you're literally just, when you're walking, but gravity is basically pushing you forward. It's kind of like that. And, then this is something that I have absolutely no idea why people do it. I personally don't. But you go Christmas morning to go swim in what's known as the 40-foot, which is essentially in the Irish Sea, which is possibly the coldest water outside of the North Sea. So I don't understand why people swim there on Christmas Day, and especially if they've just been home from the pub 3 hours beforehand. I don't know. That's something that escapes me.
Well, they're full of antifreeze.
Yeah, don't feel it. Then I suppose on Christmas Day itself, just, aside from having the best food in the world, you clearly have to make sure you have at least 500 potatoes on each plate. Honestly, in some aspects, they have 3 kinds of potatoes on your Christmas dinner plate. So I kid you not, like that's basically roast potatoes, mashed potatoes, and hash browns. Because you got
I could get behind that.
Potatoes, it's hilarious. And then basically you eat enough food that could last someone a year, but you still got to leave space for a dessert. So basically a standard dessert, which would be trifle. You guys have trifle, right?
Trifle. I
don't even know what that is.
Maybe there's like an American version of trifle. I'm not too sure. But
Describe it.
I'll send you guys. I'll send you guys the Irish recipe. You guys can have it. But it's like, so you make trifle, which is a dessert full of, like jelly and sponge and stuff like that. And essentially it has to be laced, and I mean laced, with whiskey.
That sounds amazing.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so I'll definitely hook you guys up with that. Don't worry.
Nice. Yeah, as a newly formed diabetic over the last year, it's nice to know that clear alcohols are still okay. So whiskey.
But you know what? Whiskey is not very clear. It's still like
it's still
pretty
just
brown.
okay. We don't need to have this conversation.
So I want to ask you that as a whiskey guy, being part Irish by blood, County Donegal is where my ancestors came from.
Donegal.
Yeah, I probably butchered the pronunciation of that, but
Donegal.
Donegal. There you go.
There.
I actually am a single malt Scotch whiskey guy, but I do have an affinity for a few different Irish whiskeys. My favorite being Redbreast.
Oh, my man.
I was going to ask you, what, being from Ireland, what's the number one Irish whiskey, or what do you guys prefer, or what do you like to drink?
As long as it has alcohol in it, we're pretty
Not too
good.
picky. Huh? Okay, I can get behind that.
That's my kind of man. Yeah, I like that.
No, like I myself would be a big whiskey guy, and a couple of my buddies are really into it. So like we're kind of, it's not just one bottle, but you'd have like a distillery you might like. So for instance, Redbreast is made down in Middleton, which is County Cork. So essentially that's where Jameson is made. It used to be made up here in Dublin, but like now it's made down there. Redbreast is there. Like a lot of the big brands are down there. So that'd be like, your single pot stills and so on. Like, so Redbreast is a great one. I personally like, and I didn't seem to find it when I was over in the States, so I'm not sure if you guys have it. Now, you might have it. It's basically Jameson Black Barrel.
Yep.
It's like, if you guys have that, that is literally, that's the beard's favorite whiskey, that one.
We do have it, but it just became available like a couple years ago. You really started to see it pop up here.
Oh, awesome. Well, that's definitely something. Now, one thing I did notice, maybe this is just in New York. We went to a bar in New York and just ordered Powers whiskey. So that's like a Dublin whiskey, essentially.
Heard of it, yeah.
And, we asked for it. I drink it straight, and my buddy drinks it on the rocks. And literally, it was like, we tasted it, and it was awful. Because what they do is they put sugar in it to make it appeal to the bourbon drinkers, because that's a lot sweeter.
Yeah.
But oh my god, that nearly killed me.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of sugar additives.
I wouldn't think that you'd have to go to a bar and say no sugar to my drink.
Yeah.
If I'm gonna sip, I enjoy a whiskey Coke. Sometimes, if I'm gonna sip on something like that, but that's different. I'm with you. I over the years have learned the taste profiles of whiskeys much better. And I've been to in Seattle. There's a pub there called Kell's Irish Pub, and it's a legitimate Irish pub owned by an Irishman. And I've had some of their top shelf whiskeys, and let me tell you, the top shelf stuff is much better than the bottom shelf stuff, and you can taste the difference. And I'm talking just a straight shot of this stuff.
Right.
I had a guy buy me an $18 shot of whiskey there once because my boss, who he found very attractive, was there. So he said he had to buy me a shot of whiskey because I was the biggest man in the room, and he needed to make sure I was cool with him so he could hit on my boss. Yes. So it was good whiskey.
Oh, amazing. But like, as Derek just said, like, Redbreast, anyone who mixes Redbreast with Coke, that is against the whiskey code.
Yeah,
Sure.
no,
Sure.
right. Yeah. You'd wake
Like-
up inside of a dumpster.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that completely makes sense. And once again, it's like, how we've taken coffee. I enjoy just the flavor profile of different coffees here, but everybody here wants to do sugary lattes and all that sort of stuff, and you lose out on
Red
the
Bull.
base or Red Bull in your coffee, which is so fucking stupid.
Red Bull in coffee.
Oh
Yeah.
God, dude! If
Wow.
you ever make it over this way, I will show you that every fucking menu on your coffee shops here has a Red Bull, some sort of drink.
That's ridiculous.
That is insane.
It is
Yeah.
insane. It's stupid. But
Wow.
anyway, that's a whole nother conversation. Oh, well, I tell you what, we've anything else? Was there any other things for Christmas that you wanted to talk about? Because I mean, that when you talk about jumping into the Irish Sea, there, it sounds a lot like our polar plunge, which I've actually done that a couple times. Never on Christmas Day.
But you did it to raise money.
I did it to
Yeah,
raise
we do it
money.
here for charity.
Charities,
Right.
yeah.
It sounds like the Irish
That
do
is
it just
definitely doing.
yeah, the Irish do it just because.
Yeah.
So you
Just,
guys are really crazy.
Just look, I've never done that. I don't understand why people.
So far, you're not
yeah,
helping the stereotypes.
I know.
That's all I'm saying.
That's crazy.
You got to play it to your audience, man. You know.
For sure.
Actually, you know what? I could get behind having a simple, quiet, boring life.
Well, and I can say, as somebody who has had to watch their carbs over the last year, the one thing that I do cheat on sometimes is those mashed potatoes on
yeah.
Thanksgiving and Christmas Day. I will save all my carb count that day just for a fucking plate
Just
of
for that.
Yeah,
Yep.
and when you say mashed potatoes and hash browns and all that mixed together, I'm just like, oh God, now you're speaking my language.
God damn, I want that recipe too.
Our anniversary was this past weekend, and I went out and got 2 nice ribeye cuts of steak and just did them up the right way, the Gordon Ramsay way, and they were so. I'm simple, man. So
It's awesome.
oh well, I tell you what, guys,
That was fun.
we have filled up a lot of time, and I feel like we could talk for. Seriously, I'm not just
Until
saying this
tomorrow.
to blow. I'm not just saying this to blow smoke up people's asses, Griff. This has been a pleasure, and I really cannot wait till we do this again, man.
Like the pleasure's all mine, but I warned you. I was like, getting Irish people on. Like,
What we'll do next time is we'll just hit record and make sure we have a whole day available, and then we'll break that up into like 12 parts or something.
for sure. You guys could just, go on holiday and just publish, like, oh, and now returning, we have Griff again.
Oh man, no, it's been a pleasure. I definitely have some ideas rolling through my head of building on this relationship even more, and just it's been a pleasure, man. It's been so fun. I'm glad we were able to make this happen. I'm sad that Corey and Kyle weren't involved with it today, to be honest.
Fuck them.
Okay, all right. Well,
Moving on. We don't. Oh no, we do.
the
need
voice
them.
of reason around here, my wife.
With that,
Sorry, boys.
That's right. You know what? I welcome them every podcast and say, "Hey, boys," and they were not here, so they miss out.
Anya just ain't got no time for bullshit. She's got to put up with my bullshit all the time. So. Anyway, Griff, man, I appreciate you taking time. What were you going to say, babe?
Don't forget to give kudos to Adventures.
Oh, yes. I do have to say thank you. Thank you, babe.
You're welcome.
You put up with my bullshit and you keep me on track. I do have to say thank you to Adventures Underground, a wonderful store that lets us use their space up here.
Located
We forgot to turn
1391 George Washington Way.
See how I did that? I knew he knew the address. and I
Richland,
was-
Washington 99352. Also, the Caterpillar Cafe, which serves great coffee and
Tea.
really good record, vinyls, all that stuff down there.
Oh, and a shout out to Katie because last week she made my tea and she did amazing.
Katie from the podcast.
Yeah.
Yes.
Miss
Not
Katie.
ours.
Were you covering a yawn over there?
Miss Katie's. No, my
Okay.
fingers are cold. I was putting them on my hot nose.
I thought you thought
It's
it
a
was.
little cold. It's a little frosty up here today.
We forgot to turn the heat on up here this morning. Because,
Oh, that's why my toes are freezing.
yeah, I can't feel my feet right now.
You know, body heat is a thing, you know.
Everyone huddle together.
We got to be under a big blanket right now to stay warm. It's like the movie Alive. All right. Well, Griff, Merry Christmas, man. Thank you so much for taking time with us today. I do appreciate it. We will do this again for sure.
For sure. No, honestly, guys, thanks so much for having me. Like, you know, I absolutely love every single one of you. So this was so much fun. But yeah, hit me up. You know, I definitely want to talk to you guys again. So
Yeah, for sure.
Have a great Christmas, guys. I'll make sure to send you on that recipe about the trifle
Yes.
and especially whiskey. But yeah, I'll be talking to you soon, friends.
Awesome. Thank you
Sounds good.
so much, Griff.
Take care, man.
See you later, guys.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Well, that was fun.
His accent is hot.
Well,
geez.
that was
Well,
fun.
okay. Thanks,
Is that
Mrs.
going on the
McMurray.
podcast?
Calm down,
Oh,
Mrs.
this is
McMurray.
part of the podcast.
Wait!
We're still recording.
Woohoo! Okay. It's accurate. I love accents so much.
It is nice to have a true, other than us Irish stereotypes.
No, that's awesome. I mean, what a unique guy. I mean, in a land where there's no hockey,
Yeah.
That's crazy.
and like he's a diehard fan. It's fantastic that it just, you know, in this day and age,
Yeah.
40 years ago, you wouldn't have been had access to anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, it's just really cool.
And once again, NHL 94, probably the
He brought
best
that
thing
up.
that ever
I sent on
happened
you a
to
picture.
hockey.
So we told the story. I don't know what podcast we told it on, but a couple years ago, before Record Store Day in April,
Oh, yeah.
we were outside with a Super Nintendo playing NHL 94, waiting in line. I sent the picture to
I
Anya.
just
So
saw it a few minutes ago.
it's Corey's in the picture and my buddy Chris. But
Nice.
yeah, but he brought up NHL 94 on the Super Nintendo, and I was like, oh yeah, everybody
That is
knows that
awesome.
game.
How-
Everybody knows that game.
How important was that game to
It's
to the
huge.
sport of hockey? Even players these days, younger players will talk about 90
Oh yeah,
NHL
it's
94.
legendary, man.
Fuck yeah,
It's
it is.
legendary.
Legendary. By the way, as we leave you today, I do want to remind everybody that December 27th, Hulu is picking up the next season of Letterkenny, which, oh my fucking God, I'm so excited for.
And guess what?
What?
Friday's my birthday.
Friday is Mrs.
Yeah.
Piper's birthday.
Howdy.
I'm not 40 yet.
We have an anniversary, a birthday, and Christmas all within 11 days of each
That
other.
is
in our
brutal.
house. So, yeah. And then her brother's birthday is December 24th.
That's true.
Her mother's birthday is December 7th.
True.
Holy crow.
We had a lot of,
Sister-in-law's birthday is December 9th.
and then the 14th was
14th
another
is
sister-in-law.
another sister-in-law.
It's just a crazy month.
Fuck.
We're broke, so
Join the club.
All right, boys and lady.
And Mrs. McMurray.
My lady. I want to say, honestly, Merry Christmas to everyone.
Yes.
We will be back in a couple of weeks. Check out the Winter Classic, Nashville and Dallas. I'm
Yes.
really
Yeah.
excited. The branding that the NHL has done for it, I think, is on point.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be fun. And you guys feel free to reach out to us. Send us some pictures of those cool hockey inspired, non-hockey inspired, whatever, your gifts and stuff that you get this year. And remember, let's be good to everyone.
yes.
This time of year, we should be good to and people every time of year, but this time of year especially, people are struggling, man.
In the immortal words of SpongeBob, don't be a jerk on Christmas.
Exactly.
I'm gonna have to stand behind that.
Yep. Seriously, and I can be one of the biggest assholes there are, but man, let's be good to each
That's
other. out
accurate. I can confirm.
there. And on that note, a 3, a 2, a 1.
Ferda. No, thank you.
It's ridiculous. It's just the day when it happens. So white, obviously a war on capitalism, war on socialists, war on relatives, war on bratty kids, war on red hats, war on television, war on. It is what it is.
Lost the ghost of Sosa's future. Spooky consumers, begging rooms are all up in your mini mall. No tree in my city hall, no glee in my heart at all. Militant the guard of war, suited up black boots and gloves, numerous troops in the mood to remove some stuff. Fools tell us to compromise the mission. Aim it at your North Pole with surface to air precision. Can you dig it? No mistletoe, but we got issues though. Cold as a blizzard cane, splits a brigade, trained to confiscate your killer tape. Jingles would disintegrate quick, so kringle this, Chris. You on my hit list, stay on my grit shit. I do not give gifts, that's why I'm rich, kids. Fuck it, it's on like a flip switch or a Fitbit. when the 25th hits, giving dipshits conniption fits. Division sparks the outrage at the Walmart when the doors part and we all stop in the bout face. Till the elves get a proper wage. Fuck them. Tell them happy holidays. Cause we tired of telling lies, pretending it wasn't true. Revolution televised, live on Fox News. We coming for Santa Claus and your nativity too. You wanna declare war, we gon' give it to you. It's the war on retail, war on UPS, war on Mariah Carey, war on gingerbread, war on consumer debt, war on traditions, war on Christmas.
Why? I don't know. Maybe it's the church. Talk to the Pope. He knows everything. I had it. I'm gonna die.